In this particular tweet, he said President and Mrs. Obama built has a 10-foot wall around their D.C. mansion compound. I agree, totally necessary for their safety and security. The U.S. needs the same thing. A slightly larger version. The wall or fence or border security by any name is obviously meant to protect and defend this country, say White House officials. And that, by the way, is a sentiment echoed by the folks who face the real danger along the border firsthand.
President Donald Trump recently claimed Barack and Michelle Obama had a 10-foot wall around their expensive digs in the Kalorama neighborhood in Washington, D.C. Immediately, the mainstream media called the president a liar, saying Trump's claims are 100% false. That's when one brave reporter showed up at the Obama compound. Barack and Michelle no doubt were furious after the president pointed out they're huge hypocrites, and that's why the anti-Trump media came to their rescue. Trump lies about 10-foot wall around Obama's home. There isn't one, is the piece the Rolling Stone featured following Trump's claim. Then, there's Slate magazine, who reported, when the Obamas purchased the 9-bedroom mansion for $8.1 million in 2017, they added security fencing in front of the home to fulfill the needs of the Secret Service. There is now a guard booth and fencing in the back of the house as well. People magazine also defended the Obamas, but they only had pictures from January 2017. And they refused to report the entire truth about the security measures at Obama's $8 million home, just like the other anti-Trump outlets. That's when conservative reporter Benny Johnson decided to find out for himself. Here's what we know: Obama purchased a mansion in the D.C. neighborhood of Kalorama for $8.1 million in 2017. Beefed-up security features have certainly been added to the home, including a tall pilloried wall around the front of the home, and a high-tech guard tower for Secret Service to control entry to the home. However, no definitive accounts of the security features have been reported, the Daily Caller reported. Not only does Obama have a gated security entrance outside his mansion, but he also has 7 walls, not just one. According to the Daily Caller, Obama has many walls and barricades. He has armed guards entirely blocking the suburban road where he lives. Multiple cement and iron barricades block the road leading up to the Obama mansion. A Secret Service car and agent keep people from entering the stretch of road on both ends, approximately 1,000 feet in both directions. President Trump has often criticized Obama for having a 10-foot wall around his house. Is this true? I went to Obama's neighborhood to find out. Not only does Obama have a wall, he has 7 walls, armed Secret Service police blocking the road 1,000 feet in each direction. So there's that, tweeted Benny Johnson along with a video he made proving the mainstream media and the Obamas are the liars. Barack Obama and his family are well secured behind their $8 million mansion, and it's a travesty the anti-Trump media would rely on old photos from January 2017 to call the president a liar. Trump supporter Sidney Powell tweeted, "Obama and Jared are purposefully undermining Donald Trump with their every waking hour. They run the resist destructive playbook from the operations center of his D.C. mansion behind his new wall. The Obama compound is locked down tighter than Fort Knox, and it should be, as Trump says. But what drives patriotic Americans crazy is the sycophants in the media who care nothing about facts and will go to any lengths to try to prove Trump wrong. If the Obamas want to live like those Americans who live in border towns, then they need to get rid of all their walls, barriers, Secret Service, and security guards housed in their private security gate right outside their Kalorama home. Instead, the Obamas spend hundreds of thousands of taxpayer dollars on their security and call those of us who are demanding the wall racists and worse. Well, Mr. Obama should put his own security where his mouth is and tear down every wall around him and his family. But that will never happen, we all know that. So, Barack and Michelle and their cohorts covering up for them in the mainstream media have no business lecturing Americans about border security and the wall, and they really should stop lying about how walls don't work. If they didn't work, the 44th president wouldn't have demanded not 1, but 7 of them. Every American is owed the truth. Obama has 7 walls, so why can't America have one big beautiful wall that works? Support President Trump. Continue to demand the wall. Your children and grandchildren will thank you.
Now I want to bring in Hector Garza, who is Border Patrol agent and Vice President of the National Border Patrol Council. Hector, great to see you today. You were standing actually behind the president yesterday as he was making his comments, and you were part of the group that was there to support the idea of wall funding. What do you need to keep America safe, and why a wall?
So it's very clear, Harris, is that Border Patrol agents are the real border security experts. We've been talking about a wall. We've been talking about physical barriers. We did it in El Paso, Texas. We did it in California. Now we need it in other parts along the border. And we also want to make it very clear that we're not calling for a wall from sea to shining sea. We're calling for a wall in strategic locations that's going to help our agents do their job and is going to keep our Border Patrol agents safe. We have to make sure that Congress funds border security and that they fund that border wall. It's so important for the American people, and it's so important for Border Patrol agents to keep them safe.
Do you wish at this point we could call this more what it is? Because it really isn't a wall. It's a reinforced fence line, a strong fence that's been there for decades. I mean, under former President Barack Obama in 2006 and then forwarding on to 2012, there was money allocated for this. How would this be different from what we already have on the ground?
Well, the way it would be different is that there's a lot of areas along the border that are not protected. For example, in the Laredo sector, we have 170 miles of river border in Laredo, Texas, and we have 0 miles of any type of physical barrier. It's smugglers galore in Laredo, Texas. We have a lot of people that are coming into the country illegally and smuggling those drugs. That's how it's going to be different, that we do need to reinforce the border in strategic locations.
Where are we now with the caravans that are coming here? And some of them have been massing in Tijuana and other areas.
So we do know that they've been moving along the border. So, for example, we've been seeing increased numbers of the caravan in the El Paso sector. We still see them in Tijuana. We saw what happened on New Year's Eve, where there were some aliens that tried to come across and they were throwing rocks at our agents. So the threat is still very real, not only from the caravan, but those dangerous drugs and a lot of people that are coming into this country with criminal records.
I want to point out what's happening in the center of our screen. Senator Chuck Schumer, after having a little sidebar, as we showed you on camera while Hector and I were talking with Nancy Pelosi and other Democrats outside the White House after their public comments in the microphones, he then left that to go get in the motorcade that will take him back to the Capitol. I bring all this up because we have gotten far afield from policy and we are steeped in politics right now. So you were with the President of the United States yesterday. What did he tell you about getting you what you need?
So the conversation was very, very real and very detailed. We discussed a lot of different issues to include the physical barrier, the wall, and that's why we made this press briefing at the last minute, because the information that we're providing President Trump was very accurate and very real, that he felt that the American public should hear us out, and we're very grateful for that. Now, we need to put politics aside, and we need to make sure that we fund border wall. You know, Pelosi, Mr. Schumer, they've supported walls in the past, even President Obama. I don't know why things are changing now. We need to get real, and we need to make sure that we do fund border security, and we do fund that border wall, physical barriers, whatever you guys want to call it. We need it so we can do our jobs. Now, President Trump is one of the only presidents that has actually reached out to the rank and file Border Patrol agents to see what our needs are, and that's exactly what we told them. We also spoke about loopholes in the law that encourage illegal immigration. We talked about the asylum claim process, and those are things that DHS Secretary Nielsen is already working on, and we look forward to some of those changes to make sure that we secure the border and we stop encouraging illegal immigration.
Look, I know that you at the Border Patrol don't want to be caught in between all of the politics of this, but have there been Democrats who have actually come forth and talked to you? And before you answer that question, we do have a bit of breaking news on the President of the United States, and Kevin Corke had started this reporting earlier, and now we can confirm. He will be making remarks in the Rose Garden shortly. We're awaiting that because we know the meeting now has broken up because we've seen everybody come out. They're streaming out of the White House now. So in the Rose Garden, we expect expeditiously to hear from the president. So I had just asked you about, and forgive me because I had to insert that in, Hector. I'd ask you just about the politics and all this and whether or not you've talked with any Democrats, if they've reached out.
So we do have a very close relationship with several Democrats. The National Border Patrol Council does have relationships with both parties, and we have had those conversations. Unfortunately, some of these talking heads that come out of the media at CNN and Fox News and MSNBC, and even some of these congressional representatives, they talk about how the wall does not work, but they've never spent a single day on the border. Yeah. They've never walked in the shoes of a Border Patrol agent, and if they were to do that, if they were to visit the border and actually get a real border tour, they would find out that that a wall is needed on the southern border to protect the country.
Yeah, and there are other issues too. I mean, I have a home not far from Nogales, and so I'm very familiar with these personally. But I would say this, when you have the reporting of 2 children who passed away in custody, I want to get you to talk to me a little bit about how you're handling the unaccompanied minors who are coming across the border. This will be our last point.
Well, some of the Democrats were quick to judge our Border Patrol agents and what our agents did out there. It's no secret our agents rescue a lot of people on a regular basis. They've been recognized by a lot of our members in Congress. Now, they were saying that some of these kids need medical checkups, that they needed all these types of services. Well, fund border security. Give us the money so we can do our job. Pay us, give us our paychecks, give us the proper money so that we can have the resources so we can train Border Patrol agents as paramedics. As it is, we have a lot of agents that are certified as paramedics so that we can provide that medical attention to those people that come into our custody. But again, they're quick to criticize, but give us the funding. Fund the border security, fund the border wall.
Hector Garza, you've been a part of the news stream yesterday with the president today and then him coming up now next. I appreciate you talking with me on a busy 24 hours. Thank you very much. I know you've got a big job to do to protect everybody down there on both sides. Thank you.